So good evening, one and all. Welcome to another Facebook Live. Um, this one is about why we have to change. I've been having some thoughts and one or two messages from people just recently, because I do a lot of my therapy and a lot of the videos that I do are all about learning to change. So I want to kind of touch on that to practically talk about what change is and why we need to address it really. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Rick Cardwell from Rick Cardwell Counselling, and you can find me on Facebook, obviously. If you've got any comments, please drop any comments in, give me some likes, give me some dislikes, or any questions that you have, then please continue with the questions. They're really helpful. I have answered quite a lot today, but I'm always happy to do that and get back to you. So let's have a think about our lives. We know that our life is incredibly valuable because we only get one. So what that means is that time is worth a lot. We can never get time back, and we have to make the most of our lives for what we want for ourselves to be able to make that life pleasurable, meaningful. So why, when it comes to changing, are we so crap at it? The thing is with most human beings, from my experience and from a lot of the stuff that I read and study, is we find it really difficult to change. Now, just having a bit of a conversation before, a little bit earlier or something, we sort of touched on self-help books. And it just brought something back to me, some research I read a number of years ago. And for all the self-help books on the planet, you can read them all and never change. Because if you did, then the world we'd all be changed, wouldn't we? We'd all be different people, we'd all be better. But it turns out with the research, if you go to a personal development seminar or a motivational gig or something that's really, really exciting, something that's designed to motivate change, and I presume this is the same for self-help books, you've about a 1 in 100 chance of changing in the next 12 months. So, if 100,000 people go there, then that's probably 1,000 people would benefit from that. So why don't we change? What is the thing about change in human beings that holds us where we are and makes us feel the way that we continue to feel? Well, I suppose we could all make a list of the problems that we have. I know that I could write a list of problems that I've got, and I'm sure we could all do that. So how can you then change your life exponentially to make it better? So what that means is, how can you make a change in your life, which is a change that you can build on to keep that motivation going to make your life better and better? Well, if you think about what you have in your life now, if you're not happy, if you're not, self motivated, if you're not driven, if you're not feeling that you've self-actualization and you've acclimatized the best that you can be, then necessarily your life is causing you some of suffering, something wrong in your life that's holding you back. And it's important, the first thing you should do is acknowledge that. Think about your life and think about the things that are holding you back to make you feel miserable, or make you feel unhappy, or make you feel depressed, or make you feel low. And you should think about those things, and then think about some of the things that you have in your life that, if you changed, would make your life better. So let's think about, say, drinking too much, or smoking, or anger, resentment, bitterness. Or how about being in a relationship that isn't good for you, it makes you really unhappy and it makes you miserable, and you've been stuck in that cycle for a long time? Or how about not being in a relationship where you know that you're the type of person that, if you were in a relationship with somebody that you felt good about, then that would be so much better for you? Why do we know exactly What would be better for our lives, and yet we don't do anything about it? Question that I ask all the time. Well, obviously, you and I, we need to change. We need to change. So the reason why we don't change, or the reason why you have to change, I guess, is because your situation isn't great, and that it necessarily is causing you suffering. So most people find themselves in areas of suffering, and suffering can be brought upon you that you can't control, loss of a loved one, illness, death. There's lots of things in life we can't control, but then there are lots more things in life that we are able to control because we can make choices to do that. So if your life isn't everything it could be, that you want it to be, then you have to change. It's as simple as that. Unless you want to stay where you are and continue in the suffering that you're living in. Okay, so if you want to minimize your suffering, then you should embrace change into your life as often as you possibly can and as often as you can possibly manage it. Change. So what do I mean by that? How can you change things in your life that will make your life better when we're not prepared to change and we like to be stuck where we are? Okay, so stop doing the things that you know are inadequate and wrong. Stop doing the things that you could stop doing. The things that you are doing, they're not in your best interest. So some things are obvious, and there's some things in your life that you know that you are doing that you obviously shouldn't be doing, and you should stop doing those things because they're not good for you. And then there's other things that aren't so obvious. There may be grey areas, and you won't be too sure about whether those things are good for you or bad for you. But the things that you know you shouldn't be doing, some of them you're not going to be able to stop doing. And that might be because you don't have the discipline to do that. It might be that some of the things that you were doing, there's a secondary payoff, or it's too much sacrifice for you. Or when you think about those changes, it makes you angry or resentful or afraid. It could be any one of those reasons. Let's just put those aside for a minute. Let's put the really difficult ones aside, because that if I was to say to you, start to challenge your most difficult issue, you're going to just switch off and forget about it. So let's just put aside the things that you find really, really difficult to change. But there will be, in your life and my life, in all of our lives, there'll be little things that you could stop doing. Things that if you stop doing that aren't good for you would make you feel better. Stop doing them. See what happens. What you'll find is when you stop doing something that you shouldn't be doing, that is negative, that doesn't make you feel good, when you stop doing that, what happens is you begin to get a bit more clarity. You begin to get a little bit more vision. It's like the fog lifts a tiny bit, and you can see a little bit more of what you really want for your life, how you really want to feel, how you really want to behave, just by stopping one thing that you know you shouldn't be doing, big or small. And what that means is when you get that clarity of thought, you feel a bit more positive about yourself. You'll know that when you're not doing things that are positive, when you're doing negative things you know are wrong, you don't feel good. You might try and hide those feelings because you don't want to accept that, but you don't feel good. When you stop doing that, you start to get a sense of positivity. It might only be small, but nevertheless, it's a sense of positivity. And what that then happens is you'll see another little thing that you are able to change in a positive way that will add to that. Then you'll stop doing that. And again, the fog will clear a bit more. You'll get a bit more clarity for your life, a bit more positivity. And you'll start to see things slightly differently. But that's really good. And what that means is, and this will be true for absolutely probably most of the people, including myself, is that you will begin to open up a future for yourself that you see to be good and meaningful. And for many of you, that means for the first time in your life, maybe not in your life, but for the first time for a long time, something that you've not done for many years, you've actually started to take control of your life. You're doing something that says, I'm no longer going to stay on this treadmill of negativity and carry on day after day doing the same thing, feeling the same way. I've started to take control of my life. How good is that? By changing small things from bad to good, from negative to positive. Little things, a step at a time. And that's because when you do that, what you do sort of cognitively or let's say inwardly is you strengthen yourself. By stop doing the stupid things that you've been doing, you give yourself a strength and you give yourself a positivity. And you can continue to do that indefinitely. You can continue to do little positive things, little positive changes for the rest of your life. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you'll ever be the perfect man or the perfect woman. But what it certainly means is that you're constantly moving away from the negative person and the self-defeating person that you've been, and you're heading away from that negative place in tiny incremental steps to make you feel good and to make you a better person. So that's a pretty good start. That's something that is positive in your life if you can adopt those micro behaviors to make those tiny changes. So now, what will happen if you don't do that? What will happen if you don't try and fix the things that you can fix? Well, almost for sure that you'll go from bad to worse. You'll go from bad to worse for your life. And what that will do is that will spread out to affect the lives of those around you. So your family, your kids, your partner, maybe your friends, your work colleagues. But that negativity will spread and it will affect other people as well. So maybe if you stopped bullying yourself, you stopped, start to treat yourself like somebody that you actually care for, like somebody that you really want the best for, that you really love, then you'll become strong enough to tolerate the difficult life circumstances that are thrown at us. While you're in a negative, meaningless place and life circumstances, which are going to come, guaranteed they're going to come, difficult situations, losses, painful situations, they're going to come. If you can strengthen yourself positively, then you're going to create a person who's able to deal with those situations in a much more positive, healthy way that makes you get through them better and stronger. And you'll improve your life, like I said, in a way that is positive and meaningful just by making little changes. By being better is better than who you are right now. So just make yourself a little bit better. You want to be better, then make changes to make yourself a tiny bit better. Keep moving at that. And the really great thing about making positive changes, small positive changes in your life, is that if you find yourself in a new situation, you make a change and you create a new situation in your life, or even a big change, relationship, a job, move, anything at all. The amazing thing about our brain is it absorbs new information, and it doesn't just take in that information from the surroundings. It actually turns on new genes and codes new genes in our brains, new proteins that actually help us to change for that situation in a positive way. It isn't the outside things around us that affect us to cause the change. The change actually comes from how we feel and how I think about ourselves, because our brains want us to be successful. Our brain will help us do that if you're prepared to make the choices to live your life in a more meaningful and positive way. So that means that when you change your situation for something that you perceive to be better for you, your brain's going to help you to ensure that you're successful with it. So that is amazing. That is so powerful. So there you go. Change small steps at a time, and start with the things about you that you don't like, that are affecting you, and make a conscious effort to change those, to feel that bit more positive and to be able to move on in the future, to change more and more of the negatives about you. And you will really, really benefit from that. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come and how good that change has been for you. Like I say, you don't change, you don't actually stay where you are, you slip backwards because time's moving on and you're trying to stay in that time, and you're wasting your time and you're creating more negativity. So have a think about that. Have a think about the changes you want to make. I've talked before about making lists, make a plan, talk to people about it, get excited about change, small changes in your life that are for the positive. So if you need any further help from me, then you can click on my banner, fill in my Calendly, book an appointment with me, have a discussion, drop me some questions. You can message me, whatever suits you. But think about it. We're getting towards the end of the year, and it's a great time. Well, there's only one good time to start changes, and that's right now. Because if we procrastinate and we put it off, then we'll always procrastinate and we'll always put it off. And like I said at the beginning of the video, life's too valuable, life's too short. You don't have to live in the self-perpetuating misery that you live in. You can make it a lot better for yourself. So get in touch, give me some thumbs up, give me some thumbs down. It's always great to hear from you. Fire some more questions over. I'll have another Facebook Live for you tomorrow. Hopefully that'll be helpful as well. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I shall speak to you again soon. Thank you for watching.